Beware the innocent-looking doll that brings with it a curse so sinister it will turn your world into a nightmarish playground. In the heart of a quiet, picturesque village nestled between rolling hills, there stood an old, weathered house. Its history was veiled in whispers of tragedy and misfortune. The locals knew it as the dollmaker's cottage, a place where the most exquisite dolls were crafted with unmatched skill. The dollmaker, Eleanor Gray, was a recluse who seldom ventured beyond her cottage's faded blue door. Her dolls, however, were known far and wide for their uncanny realism and eerie beauty. They were so lifelike that some villagers whispered that they held fragments of the souls of the departed. One fateful summer, a young girl named Lily received one of Eleanor's dolls as a gift from her grandmother. The doll was unlike anything she had ever seen, with lifelike porcelain skin, intricate lace clothing, and piercing blue eyes that seemed to follow her every move. Lily named it Serafina. At first, Lily adored Serafina, spending countless hours playing with her new companion. But as the days passed, she began to notice strange occurrences. Objects would go missing, only to reappear in unusual places. She heard whispers in the darkness, faint voices that seemed to emanate from the doll itself. Lily's once restful nights turned into sleepless torments. She would awaken to find Serafina perched at the foot of her bed, her glassy eyes filled with malevolence. Fear gnawed at Lily's heart, and she knew something was terribly wrong with the doll. Desperate to rid herself of Serafina, Lily confided in her grandmother. To her shock, her grandmother's eyes filled with dread as she recounted a story from her own childhood, a tale of a cursed doll crafted by Eleanor Gray herself. Eleanor, it seemed, had possessed a dark secret, a pact she had made with malevolent forces to infuse her dolls with the souls of the deceased. These cursed dolls, like Serafina, were vessels of torment and despair, bringing misery to those who owned them. Lily's grandmother had been one of the unfortunate souls to receive such a doll, and she had narrowly escaped its curse. Together, they devised a plan to break the sinister enchantment that bound Serafina. They traveled to the dollmaker's cottage, braving the weight of its ominous reputation. The cottage was a labyrinth of winding corridors and shelves filled with hauntingly lifelike dolls. The air was heavy with an unnatural stillness, and the dolls seemed to watch their every move. At the heart of the cottage, they found Eleanor's workshop. It was a place of dark rituals and forbidden knowledge, filled with grimoires and arcane symbols. Among the sinister artifacts, they discovered a journal detailing the creation of the cursed dolls. Lily's grandmother began a ritual, her trembling hands tracing symbols in the air as she recited incantations passed down through generations. As she chanted, Serafina's glassy eyes flickered with malevolence. The doll's porcelain features contorted in agony as the curse fought to retain its grip. With a final, desperate incantation, Lily's grandmother shattered Serafina, breaking the curse that had plagued their family for generations. The doll's remains crumbled into dust, and an eerie silence fell over the dollmaker's cottage. As they left the cottage behind, a sense of relief washed over Lily. She knew that the curse of the dollmaker's creations had been broken, and her nights would no longer be haunted by Serafina's malevolence. But the horrors of the dollmaker's cottage would forever linger in their memories. They had glimpsed the darkness that dwelled within the cursed dolls, a darkness that could turn innocent playtime into a nightmarish ordeal. The villagers soon learned the truth of Eleanor Gray's sinister creations, and the dollmaker's cottage was forever shunned. It stood as a chilling reminder that some secrets were best left buried, and that even the most innocent-looking dolls could hold curses so malevolent they could turn one's world into a nightmarish playground. Years passed, and the memory of the cursed dolls slowly faded from the village's collective consciousness. The dollmaker's cottage remained a forbidding, overgrown relic of the past, shunned by all who passed by. The villagers believed they had left the malevolent spirits behind. But evil, once awakened, is not easily banished. One autumn evening, a chill wind whispered through the village. A new family had moved into the cottage next to the dollmaker's abode. Unaware of its ominous history, Among them was a young girl named Mia, about the same age Lily had been when she first received Serafina. Mia was a bright and curious child, and it wasn't long before she discovered the decrepit cottage nearby. She couldn't resist the urge to explore, her innocent curiosity leading her down the same dark path that had ensnared Lily. Hidden beneath a floorboard in the abandoned workshop, Mia discovered the remnants of another cursed doll. Its porcelain face lay shattered, and its glassy eyes stared vacantly into the void. Yet the malevolence of the curse remained, dormant but not forgotten. Mia, unaware of the sinister history, decided to repair the doll, hoping to give it new life. She meticulously pieced together the porcelain fragments, her innocent hands unknowingly binding herself to the cursed doll's malevolent spirit. As the final piece was placed, a malevolent presence stirred. The doll's once empty eyes flickered to life, glowing with an unnatural crimson light. A sinister grin formed on its porcelain lips. From that moment, Mia's life took a sinister turn. The doll, whom she named Lucinda, became her constant companion. At first, Lucinda's malevolence was subtle, a misplaced object here, a mysterious whisper there, but it soon escalated into full-blown torment. Mia's once happy home became a nightmarish playground. Lucinda's laughter echoed through the house, even when Mia was alone. The doll's glassy eyes followed Mia's every move, and her presence filled the air with an oppressive malevolence. Terrified, Mia confided in her parents, but they dismissed her claims as childish fantasies. They couldn't see the doll's sinister transformation, nor could they hear the whispers that tormented their daughter's nights. As the torment continued, Mia's health deteriorated. Dark circles formed under her eyes, and she grew increasingly frail. Lucinda's malevolence seemed insatiable, its sinister grip tightening around Mia's very soul. Desperate, Mia recalled the stories her grandmother had told her about the cursed dolls and their malevolent creator. She knew she needed to break the curse before it consumed her completely. One moonless night, she gathered her courage and ventured into the dollmaker's cottage, clutching Lucinda tightly in her trembling hands. The eerie silence that enveloped the cottage seemed to welcome her, and she navigated the winding corridors with determination. At the heart of the cottage, she discovered the dollmaker's workshop, just as her grandmother had. The grimoires and arcane symbols still lingered, bearing witness to the dark rituals that had taken place. Mia began the same incantation her grandmother had once recited. The room trembled with an otherworldly energy as Lucinda's malevolent presence surged. The doll's porcelain features contorted with rage and desperation, but Mia pressed on, her voice unwavering. With a final, desperate incantation, Mia shattered Lucinda, breaking the curse that had plagued her family once again. The doll's remnants crumbled into dust, and the eerie silence that had enveloped the dollmaker's cottage deepened. Mia left the cottage, her heart heavy with the knowledge of the darkness that still dwelled within its walls. She had glimpsed the malevolent spirit that had consumed Lucinda, and she knew that some curses could never truly be banished. As Mia returned home, she knew that her family's torment had come to an end. But the legacy of the cursed dolls would forever linger in her memories, a haunting reminder that even the most innocent-looking dolls could hide curses so malevolent they could turn playtime into a nightmarish ordeal. The villagers, once again, learned the chilling truth of the dollmaker's creations. The dollmaker's cottage remained an accursed place, forever shunned and avoided. The malevolent spirits had been vanquished, but the darkness of their legacy would always cast a long, haunting shadow over the village. Months passed since Mia had shattered Lucinda and a curse that had plagued her family. The haunting whispers, the chilling laughter, and the oppressive malevolence that had infested their home had all vanished. Mia's health began to improve, and her once pale complexion regained its rosy glow. However, despite the return of peace to the household, Mia couldn't shake the eerie feeling that something still lingered in the shadows, a residual presence left behind by Lucinda and the curse she had carried. Late one night, Mia awoke to the sound of faint, mournful weeping. The mournful cries seemed to emanate from the darkest corner of her room. She followed the sound to an old, tattered trunk that had been tucked away for years, filled with her grandmother's belongings. As Mia opened the trunk, the weeping grew louder. Inside, she discovered a collection of old letters and journals that had once belonged to her grandmother. They were filled with tales of the cursed dolls and the dollmaker's sinister legacy. Mia's heart pounded as she read the passages. Her grandmother had been the one who had first tried to break the curse, using ancient rituals passed down through generations. She had even ventured into the dollmaker's cottage herself, just as Mia had. But her grandmother's accounts took a darker turn. The last journal entry was filled with despair and anguish. It spoke of the curse's tenacity, of how it clung to the doll even after it had been shattered, seeking another vessel, another innocent soul to torment. Mia's grandmother had eventually given up her quest, fearing that the curse would consume her completely. She had hidden the trunk away, hoping to protect her family from the cursed legacy that had plagued her own. Mia now understood the truth. The curse was not easily broken, and its malevolent spirit could persist. Seeking out a new host, Lucinda had been vanquished, but the darkness of the dollmaker's creations endured. Determined to protect her family and rid them of the lingering curse once and for all, Mia embarked on a quest to uncover the true origins of the cursed dolls and the malevolent entity that had spawned them. She delved into the dark history of the dollmaker, seeking clues and answers that might lead to a permanent solution. Her journey took her to libraries, occult experts, and even the village elders who had guarded the secrets of the cursed dolls. Through her research, she discovered that the dollmaker Eleanor Gray had been driven by a twisted desire to achieve immortality. She believed that by infusing the dolls with the souls of the deceased, she could cheat death itself. The malevolent entity that had given Eleanor this dark knowledge was a shadowy figure known as the Soul Collector. It was a sinister being that fed on the torment of the cursed doll's owners, growing stronger with each generation. The Soul Collector's insatiable hunger had driven Eleanor to create more and more cursed dolls, perpetuating the cycle of suffering. Armed with this newfound knowledge, Maya realized that the only way to break the curse once and for all was to confront the Soul Collector itself. She knew it would be a perilous undertaking, but she couldn't bear the thought of her family or others falling victim to its malevolence. With the guidance of the village elders and her grandmother's journals, Mia prepared herself for the ultimate confrontation. She collected the shattered remnants of Lucinda, the cursed doll that had once tormented her family, and performed a series of ancient rituals meant to draw out the malevolent entity. In the heart of the dollmaker's cottage, where the cursed dolls had been born, Mia began the ritual. The air grew heavy with an otherworldly presence, and shadows danced on the walls. As Mia recited the incantations, the remnants of Lucinda began to stir, forming a sinister figure, a grotesque and haunting manifestation of the Soul Collector. The entity howled with rage, its malevolence unleashed. It sought to consume Mia's soul, just as it had done with countless others throughout the years. But Mia's determination and the ancient rituals were a formidable force to reckon with. With every word of the incantation, Mia weakened the entity's grip on the cursed dolls and the village. The Soul Collector's form contorted in agony, its power waning. Mia's unwavering resolve was the key to its defeat. In a blinding burst of light, the Soul Collector was banished, its malevolent presence dissipated into the ether. The curse that had plagued the village for generations was finally broken. Maya left the dollmaker's cottage behind, knowing that her family and her village were now free from the curse's torment. The legacy of the dollmaker and her sinister creations had come to an end, and the darkness that had once haunted the village had been vanquished. As the years passed, Mia continued to cherish the memory of her grandmother and the wisdom she had passed down. She knew that some secrets were best left buried, and that the malevolent forces of the past should never be underestimated. The villagers, once burdened by the curse, now lived in peace. The dollmaker's cottage, once feared and avoided, stood as a symbol of their resilience and the triumph of light over darkness. The cursed dolls and the soul collector were consigned to the annals of history, their malevolence no longer a threat. But Mia knew that the echoes of the past would forever linger, a haunting reminder that some curses were not easily broken, and that the battle between light and darkness would always be a part of the human experience.